Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and iHeartRadio. Let's get to my one-on-one interview with Cowboys owner extraordinaire, businessman extraordinaire, the one and only Jerry Jones, at his headquarters at the Star in Dallas, Texas. I want to thank Jerry, first of all, for giving me an hour of his time. He didn't have to do that. He actually gave me more than an hour, and actually he would have given me more than that. I just had to rush and catch a flight, for crying out loud. But his hospitality obviously knew no limits, and I'm very, very grateful and honored to him allowing me to sit down and interview him, because that's not something he does very often in terms of one-on-one interviews. Let's get that out the way. You may recall Jones bought the Cowboys in 1989, at the time for $150 million. It's now 36 years later. The franchise, or I should say his 36th season, 35 years later, the franchise, that is the Dallas Cowboys, is now worth well over $10 billion, more than double the value of most of the teams in the National Football League. So before we say anything, we got to salute his success as a businessman. The man knows how to make money, plain and simple. It's no way around it. But check out Jerry's response when we're talking about football. Specifically, when I asked him about the 28 years that have passed since his Dallas Cowboys made it to an NFC Championship game, let alone a Super Bowl. Take a look.
Well, I would say the one most responsible for it is the guy they're answering to, me. And that's what I've said from the very beginning. There's no slipping away from it. The buck stops. It does stop. It stops right here. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean much if it's just for show. Mm-hmm. Or that doesn't mean much if there's not some tears and some sweat and blood that goes with it.
What about those who argue it's not a consequence because at the end of the day, you're not going to remove yourself, so you don't really have to pay the price for whatever mistakes you make because you're not getting rid of you, as most of us wouldn't get rid of ourselves?
Well, of course. But that is absent a little deal called paying that price. Mm. You think for 1 minute that the way our season ended last year, there isn't anybody on this earth that bothered any more than me. Mm. No one. There's been no one that looks back that really can live with how long it's been since we've been with the Super Bowl. Do you think that I literally do go in here and say, well, but how many people have won 3 Super Bowls? Mm-hmm. Okay, do you think I say, of course I do not. Right. I do not say that. I look at it as that was then, this is now. But I do look at it that way, in that sense that 10 years ago, we obviously didn't win a Super Bowl. We had a different coach. That was then, this is now. Let's go do it now. Now, I've done this and things away from football all my life. Mm-hmm. And I have discarded. I have gone in different directions, and I've gone in different businesses. The guy in the mirror is the man that I change out.
Fair enough. First things first, and I want to make sure that I educate folks about something. Maybe I'm stating the obvious, maybe I'm not. Billionaires don't have to talk to anybody. You don't hear that often. But they don't have to talk to anybody. Billionaires are cutting checks, not just cashing them. That's number one. They're usually the bosses. And as a result of that, they usually have people under them to point the finger at, to do interviews, to explain stuff to the masses, et cetera, et cetera. So when Jerry Jones not only showed a willingness to sit down with me, had no idea how long we were going to sit down, and literally said, I don't care. It's with Stephen A. that meant the world to me. It really, really did. Didn't stop me from asking him about CeeDee Lamb. Didn't stop me from looking in his face and telling him I think they were going to lose. Didn't stop me from looking in his face and telling him and questioning him about Dak Prescott. And really bringing to light whatever questions legitimately exist about Dak Prescott. Because I'm one of those people who side with Jerry when it comes to Dak Prescott and the apparent procrastination to get him signed. Now, in Jerry's world, his mentality is there's no rush. There's no punishment for taking your time to get the deal done as long as you get it in time when you need them and they're on the field for you. Fair enough. My attitude is simple. Dak Prescott, and I saw Brandon Cooks the other day going off pontificating about, it's blasphemous that people are critical of Dak Prescott. Stop it. Stop. Dak Prescott is a star caliber quarterback. He is big time as a talent who has led the Dallas Cowboys to multiple winning seasons and multiple playoff berths. And by his work in the regular season from September through December, Dak Prescott is worthy of the $55 million that Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love already got this offseason, if not more, which will probably be more because he's the last dude on the market who's going to get his money, and you know how that works. But don't act like Dak Prescott's some freaking victim because he's being raked through the coals for having won 2 playoff games in 8 freaking years. I mean, damn. You got to win 3 Super Bowls. You got to win 3 playoff games in 1 year to win a Super Bowl. This brother don't have him in 8. Come on, y'all. At some point in time, it's not right for us to point out, yo, man, you're going to win. You got to win. You got to win it come January. You got the nerve to sit up there holding out and talking about if they don't sign you, it'll say something. If you do get signed, it'll say something. But if you don't get signed, it'll say something too. Well, if you don't get signed before Sunday season opener Dak Prescott, what's that going to mean to you? Is it going to mean they don't want you? Or is it going to mean they want to flash a light bulb in your head that says, damn, bro, can you show up and produce in January? Y'all think I'm bullshitting. When I pointed out, I was walking around the Star. My team was there with me. I had some team members in there with me. Am I lying, fellas? I was there. I walked down the halls. I walked around the Star. I walked to their practice facility. I went to their cafeteria. I ate a delicious cheeseburger in the cafeteria. I didn't grab it and leave. I sat down and ate, hoping the players would come in there. They got some podcast booth with Jefferson Walls. I was in there. I ran into Nate Newton. Couldn't find any of the players playing today. I wonder why. Ain't nobody running. You got to produce. It's not being negative or disrespectful, pointing out what you do on a public platform when you pick the career that allows you to perform in a public platform. Come on, y'all. Come on. As for Jerry, I'm just looking at some of these things. This is what he's done in the past. Signed independent stadium sponsorship deals with American Express, Nike, Dr. Pepper, and Pepsi. Once irked the NFL's licensing arm in the process on the grounds that these partnerships violated league-wide sponsorship agreements. The league sued them for $300 million in 1995. Jerry countered for $750 million in an antitrust suit a month later and won. That's Jerry Jones. I'm just looking at some of these things that this man achieved. AT&T Stadium featuring 80,000 seats, capable of expanding to 100,000 seats. A retractable roof and the largest high-definition center-hung video board in the entire league, 160 feet by 72 feet long and 53 feet by 30 feet wide. At least $6 billion NFL venues have opened in 13 years since the debut of AT&T Stadium by Jerry Jones. I mean, what can you say? A 510-foot square foot indoor practice facility that's called that's sport facility. That's where we were. That's where we did the interview. I can't say enough. It's called The Star. Opened in 2016. Now includes the Cowboys headquarters, a 17-story luxury apartment tower, the Omni Frisco Hotel, a 300,000 square foot sports medicine center, Dr. Pepper's corporate headquarters, and 24 shops and restaurants, including a Nike store and several Cowboys-themed eateries. Also boasts the Ford Center, which is used for indoor practices, high school football games, and other events like the Country Music Awards next year. This is from a dude that borrowed money to buy the Cowboys and had $3 billion lawsuits in back-to-back years from 1989 to 1990 to 1991. The man bet on himself. They ain't winning no damn Super Bowl in the foreseeable future as far as I can see. But it don't mean that I can't respect this man and his business acumen. I'm going to give him that. I'm going to give him